The Resilience Across Borders podcast is intended for education, support, and inspiration. I am not a psychologist or a medical doctor and do not offer any professional, medical, or health advice. If you are dealing with or suffering from any psychological or medical conditions, please seek help from a qualified health professional. Hello and welcome back to Resilience Across Borders podcast. I'm your host, Rachid, and in today's episode, we will talk about the principle of pain and pleasure, popularized by thinkers like Aristotle and later by modern psychology. It is a simple but powerful principle. So we are motivated to move away from pain and to move toward pleasure. So the key to building, say, better habits and a better life is learning how to consciously link pain to harmful habits and link pleasure to beneficial ones. So your mind naturally pushes you in the right directions. So with that in mind, here are some strategies to help us harness this principle intentionally, of course, with practical examples, because without practicality, what's the point? At least that's how I think. Number one, link immediate pain to bad habits. Our brains often keep bad habits alive because the pain they cause feels distant. Example, long-term health issues from smoking, because they're not immediate. They don't happen as soon as you have one or you light one. So the association is not immediate. But by bringing that pain into the present moment, you make it harder to continue. So how do you apply? So for instance, a visualization exercise. Each time you think about engaging in a bad habit, vividly imagine the worst possible consequence of continuing it, even if it's not immediate. Feel it emotionally and physically in your mind. Also, think of social consequences. So tell a friend about your goal and commit to sending them a message if you slip. That added accountability creates immediate discomfort. This happens to a lot of us. We're more accountable to other people than we are to ourselves in most instances. That's why workout buddies kind of work, right? So for instance, if you are tempted to binge watch shows late at night, imagine waking up exhausted, late for work, and missing an important meeting. Feel the embarrassment and stress now before you grab that remote, so that hopefully you don't have to live those consequences. So if you tend to, say, overspend online, imagine receiving a bank overdraft notice and the anxiety that follows. This is, of course, not to beat yourself up, but this is extreme situations where you really are having an issue with a bad habit. You need to make it real, and you need to realize that there is consequences, even if they're not immediate. Unfortunately, sometimes we have to play these games with our minds. Number two, link immediate pleasure to good habits. This is, of course, much more fun. Many good habits fail because their rewards seem far away. Example, getting fit takes months. You can take them day by day, but you can make them stick by adding instant gratification and instant celebrations. You can pair the habits with something enjoyable right away. For instance, if you want to read a book, and pair it with something you enjoy, like drinking a coffee. So that's pairing the habits, and then until they become inseparable, that anytime you reach out for that coffee, then you reach out for that book as well. Also, celebrate small wins. Reward yourself mentally or physically after each completion. This is, again, just training yourself, training your subconscious to make these associations, and the rewards to do work. For instance, only listen to your favorite podcast when you go for a walk or exercise. Then you look forward to that. You look forward to both those things together eventually. After completing your morning journaling, for instance, enjoy a fancy coffee or a few minutes of guilt-free scrolling, if that's what really you want to do, if you must do that. Number three, reframe pain as progress. When we start a new habit, the discomfort often feels like a sign we should quit. But reframing it as proof that change is happening flips the association. So then you embrace that pain, you embrace the suck, because you know there is going to be a good reward. And so also language shift is very important. Instead of saying this is hard, say this means I am growing. It's important in how we talk to ourselves and what we say to ourselves. And then also when we track in progress, keep a visible chart of days you stuck to the habit. It turns the short-term pain into visible progress and more confidence by doing it. For instance, feeling muscle soreness after workouts, remind yourself it's evidence of your body adapting and getting stronger. Or if you struggle with public speaking practice, recognize that each moment of discomfort is making the next time easier. Number four, make the cost of inaction immediate. Our brains are lazy about future consequences. If the cost of skipping a habit feels distant, we won't care enough to act. So make a public commitment, post your goal online or tell a group. Backing out would feel embarrassing. You can put some money on the line, use an app or agreement where you forfeit money to a cause you dislike if you don't follow through. Okay, not gambling though, don't confuse this with gambling. So say for instance, if you want to write a book, promise to send your friends a draft chapter every Friday. Missing it means facing their questions. If you want to say stop smoking, commit $10 to a cause you oppose every time you slip, so you can really feel that pain. Number five, stack long-term pleasure in your mind. To strengthen a habit, keep visualizing and emotionally connecting to how good life will be after staying consistent. Imagine that future you want and then memorize it, and then it will pull you. You can do a future self-visualization. Picture yourself vividly in a few months or 1 to 5 years living the benefits of those changes and those good habits. Also, you can create a pleasure anchor. Write down the top 3 ways your life will improve if you keep the habit and read it daily. So it reminds you and it drives you and it propels you. So, for instance, if you're saving money, visualize yourself living debt-free in your dream home, feeling peace and freedom. If you're learning a skill, imagine confidently performing it in front of friends, feeling proud. Number six, flip your associations on the spot. Sometimes the best way to change behaviors is in the moment, by consciously shifting the link between pain and pleasure right when temptation strikes. You do this by interrupting and swapping. The moment you think of a bad habit, pause and visualize the pain it brings. Then think of the good habit and visualize the pleasure it brings. And you're more likely then to go into the good habit instead of falling back into the bad habit. Also, there's what's called a sensory trigger. Have a playlist or an image or a phrase ready that sparks the feeling you want. So anytime you call upon it, you call it, you play it, you look at it, then it switches you into the desired state and into a desired direction. For instance, find yourself craving like junk food, picture feeling bloated and sluggish afterwards, because that's what happens. Then think about how energized and light you feel after eating good, healthy, fresh food. Or you're about to skip a workout, imagine the guilt and regret later in the day, then shift to picturing the post-exercise rush, satisfaction, and pride. So anyways, the pain and pleasure principle is always running in the background. It's the code that drives much of our behavior. Most people let it work unconsciously, which means old habits and fears often win. But by deliberately linking pain to what holds you back and pleasure to what moves you forward, you can reprogram your brain to work for you instead of against you. The next time you face a decision, big or small, ask yourself, how can I make the wrong choice feel more painful and the right choice feel more pleasurable right now? So like, how can I make the wrong choice feel more painful and the right choice feel more pleasurable right now in the present at this moment? That one question could change everything. So as always, thank you for tuning into the Resilience Across Borders podcast. If you are enjoying this podcast and finding it helpful to you, please pick up a copy of the companion journal called Emo Gym. It's available on Amazon. You can also share this podcast. You can review it. You can follow the blog posts as they get added. The URL is at resilience.com. And remember to be kind to yourself and be kind to others and stay resilient.